Hi, everybody. Jeff Gayduk from Leisure Group Travel. With me today is Cathy Greteman from Star Destinations. Cathy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Snowing in Iowa, but looking forward to the brighter days.
Yeah, a little bit of early or mid-fall snow coming down, and I guess that's just Mother Nature's way of letting us know that the seasons are about to change.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, Cathy, I saw on Facebook that you posted a return trip. I think it was your first one coming out, and I wanted to get you on today. First of all, just talk a little bit about that return to touring experience, where you guys went and what went down. Give me just a little perspective on that trip.
Okay. Well, this was a Door County trip, the one that you saw. It actually is our the second group
Nice.
adventure that we've had out. So it was really fun. Both of them ran very similar. The group size was small, and we made the decision that we're going to take these trips regardless of the size. And we also have the motor coach company as well, so keeping our coaches rolling is another really important thing for us. But we were really, really pleasantly surprised about the travelers who wanted to go. And of course, initially when this program was announced, there were a few more, but that did change as time went on. And people had some intrepidation a little bit about traveling, but those who went were really had made the decision that they were going to go come hell or high water. They were going to get out of the house and go. The trips, both of the trips, the first one was a little over a week. The second one was about 6 days. So it was a nice size trip. But just to kind of fill you in, we really started with lots of different protocols than we had ever done on trips before, starting with a wellness form before they arrived. We did temperature checks. We did sanitizing constantly throughout the trip, hand sanitizers, wipes, all of that. Everyone wore masks. We spaced everybody out on the coaches. And with both of the trips, about halfway through, I could really see that people were realizing that we were doing everything we possibly could to make them comfortable. So, and safe.
So, number of passengers on the Door County trip.
The Door County trip, I think there were 18 in total.
Okay. Now, you do both preformed groups as well as sort of individual travelers. Was this a preformed group, or was this something that was more of a retail tour?
It was more of a retail tour.
Okay, good.
It was a retail tour.
And then you mentioned this is the second one. Was the first trip to Door County as well, or where did that trip go?
The first trip went down to Tennessee, and we stayed at the Dollywood Resort. It was really nice. Everyone absolutely loved it, and that was in late September, so it was the beginning of their fall season, and so we were lucky to see a little fall color. And but boy, it was really pretty in Door County. So.
Nice. Yeah, well, you certainly picked a good time to go to both Tennessee and Wisconsin. That's a good mix of destinations. And that first one was a retail tour as well, or was that a preform group?
It was.
Okay.
Well, I should say, we offered it. It was primarily the folks came together, and then there were a few add-ons at the end. So it worked out really nice. It was lovely.
Cool. So that had to be a difficult decision as far as, when to reboot operations. What sort of thought process went into, can we get this trip off the ground? Do we have people interested? Or was it just those that were raring to go were kind of forcing the issue of wanting to travel? Tell me a little bit about that.
Uh, well, obviously, we, like everyone else, canceled everything for the season. But decided to see what the fall would bring, and I felt as though it was really the right time. So we offered 2 trips, and that was it. And we have one more, a little Christmas program coming in the first part of December, but just decided to give it a try, see what people's thinking was, and really, and quite honestly, most of the people that were on board both trips had traveled with us before, so they knew that we were going to make every effort possible. And I think that when they got out on the road too, they realized no matter where we went, what hotel, what restaurant, whatever we were doing, they were making an equal effort as well. So even though the numbers were small, I think it really helped because many of the places, even restaurants, were okay with smaller groups, don't know what they would think about if it had been a larger group. So all in all, it worked out really pretty well.
Good, good. Well, and it seems as though you've got a template as well going into next year, which is really important because that's going to be super critical for our industry.
Well, we always do a comment sheet at the very end of every tour, and we ask them what their feelings were about safety, about the protocol that we had, that we had enforced, and the comments were very positive about that. I think that they want that feeling of security. They want that, and I think they're going to need that going forward. But all of them were very positive about travel in the coming season. So
Good, good.
that was good.
I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty about getting back on the road again from a consumer perspective, and having that added layer of safety and security that somebody's, vetting the restaurants and the hotel accommodations during that process should give them that peace of mind that, it is safe to travel.
Exactly, exactly. And we appreciated the correspondence with restaurants and hotels and all of the attractions and their attempts and what they were doing. It was just a combined effort that I think everybody is welcoming. Seeing motor coaches on the road again, and many of the places that we went, they would say, "This is our first bus for the season," or "Okay, our season's over next week, and this was our first bus." So it was really fun. But I do have to tell you a funny story from the Tennessee trip. We ended up in St. Charles, Missouri, and I thought this would be kind of a fun place to stop for lunch and enjoy a little time walking around in charming St. Charles, which is always a fun place. We decided to drive around and then just stop kind of in the middle of their main area and then let them out and they could walk either direction and then come back and pick them up later. We happened to park in front of the Chamber of Commerce, their visitors bureau. And I
Okay.
am not kidding. They were out with brochures in about 2 seconds before we could even unload the bus, wanted to greet us and was so excited. And I just laughed because I thought, we're all anxious. We're all so anxious. But it was really cute. So.
They were just tickled pink to see tourists again, right?
And a bus, yes, yes.
Uh, so Kathy, kind of looking towards 2021, I'd like you to sort of paint a picture as far as what you see. Obviously, I know you guys do a fair share of international trips as well as domestic. How do you anticipate moving on from these two and then the late 2020 program into next year? And, how does that kind of work into your preform groups as well as your retail tours?
Well, with our preformed groups, many of them moved their program from 2020 into 21. So, not thinking that we're going to double everything for next year. That's just not going to happen because, many of our groups are repeat groups, and they work with us year after year, which is always really welcome. But I do think that they've moved their programs into the following year, and that has worked really well for us. When we're looking at some of them that have already held their introduction meetings and that sort of thing, our international is selling really well. And that just really surprised me because we really tried to load everybody up with domestic programs. And to our surprise, the international programs are what people are looking for. But I do think international tours appeal to a more sophisticated audience, that they want to travel internationally, or they're looking at it as golly, I planned it last year, so I really want to go this year. I don't know how many other opportunities I'm going to get, and so that really worked out really well. And for the domestic tours are selling pretty well, but I would say that people are waiting longer to buy domestic than they are the international. So, but we have quite a few things on the books that really keep us very optimistic. And but by the same token, I think the groups will all definitely be smaller.
Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. We've got to be prepared for that going forward. So a couple more questions, if you don't mind. So
Sure.
segments of the group market that you feel are going to recover quicker, maybe based on some of your preformed groups that are coming through, which ones that are you seeing that appear to be like, we're ready to go, we want to go forward with this, and maybe at the same time, which ones are maybe going to be a little hesitant coming out?
I think I think the retail side of the program is going to be a little bit more hesitant because they're they don't have that cohesion that the preformed market has. And so often in the preformed market, they travel with friends, and they're or they have a club leader that they really like or whatever. And if they're promoting it, then it's okay. They're going to go. So I see that market is coming back a bit stronger than just opening it up to the general public. So
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
my feelings there.
Two final questions for you. One is, yeah, I know that you're involved in the Agricultural Tour Operators International. Can you, for those that are maybe unfamiliar with that group, can you talk a little bit about the organization, your involvement, what the mission of the organization is?
Well, this is a group of international operators, and there are about 68 tour companies around the world that are on agricultural tours. And there are about 4 or 5 in the US, but quite a few in South America, Australia, New Zealand, and scattered throughout Europe, the Middle East. And where the focus comes is, and all of these operators are attempting to do other things besides just agriculture. Agriculture is definitely a focus. Some of them are farmers themselves that have gotten into the agricultural market. Is here we are in Iowa, and it's really a very agriculturally focused state. And but here in the Midwest, between Wisconsin and the dairy, and that is really kind of driven. Illinois has really driven the agricultural market, but opportunities in California and the different types of agriculture on the East Coast. We just have really blossomed into understanding that market and bringing people into the United States that want to see how agriculture in the US is done, and then taking people from the US out to see some of the innovative programs that are going on worldwide. So we partner together and work together and really talk about what agricultural brings to the tourism industry. This year, I'm serving. I started this year as the first year of a 4-year term. I know, and my call in the next couple hours is really we're doing our general assembly, our annual event as a virtual event. So that's in the planning stages right now too. So lots going on.
Good. Well, I'll look forward to following through on that. I think that's a great mission, and just getting people out to see the power of agriculture and what it does for the economy and feeding the world is very, very powerful. And the fact that there's operators that can bring people up and close and personal, that is really, really cool. So a final question for you. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least touch on the peril facing the bus industry right now. Obviously, you guys have the coach side of the business. Can you talk just a little bit about, how things are? And, we know we're pushing for legislation. Both the associations have been very upfront on the need for that. But, just from your words, from the bus side of the business.
Well, from the motor coach side, it's a struggle. And we have 152 coaches, and we have 11 different offices around the US, from Las Vegas down to Orlando. We actually opened our Orlando office in February. So that was kind of a blow. But, we are a family owned operation, and I have 3 sons in the business, my husband and I and our daughter. We're all deeply involved in it, and it has been my sons that have really taken the lead and grew this company to probably one of the larger coach companies in the country and in terms of the privately owned sector. But it's really hard to see the buses sitting, and it's a struggle. But we've noticed in the last month or so that people are beginning again. The fall sports that were sort of postponed are now coming on, and teams are taking more coaches. But it is important that people realize how significant this industry is to the population of the U.S. And just even the hurricanes, either in Florida and Louisiana and down in the South, we've gotten calls from both. They need our help. They need help to move workers around. We have some sleeper coaches, so they were using some of those. And I'll tell you, the airline industry can't do what we do, and can't move people. The minute they are done, we're there to take the people away from the airport. So, it's just amazing that our legislators have not recognized an absolutely phenomenal source of transportation in the United States, and that we as private operators, we need that public-private partnership. We need them to step in and help this industry. And, we've worked very hard to try and communicate that message. And we definitely need that CERTS Act to just get moving. And it'll definitely ease the burden for
Absolutely.
all of us. So, it's going to
It,
take a
it,
while.
it is going to take a while. And I think that, we've all been fighting very hard for it. These types of communications, urging anybody involved in the travel industry. The bus sector has been overlooked up to this point, but we can change that. So we'll keep pushing forward with it and look to make it whole. Obviously, to have that amount of inventory mostly sitting idle, that's devastating for so many small businesses. So
It is.
yeah.
We've been very fortunate to have some great support with our bankers. So we're just hoping everybody else can make it. We're all in this together, and we're going to do it. But Jeff, we really appreciate you making the effort to make that come to the front as well. So thank you for that.
Certainly. And congratulations on the return to touring. We look forward to seeing those coaches out on the road next year as we get past this and people feel more comfortable with traveling. And these first initial steps are very critical. So I applaud you for the efforts that you and your team have done, Cathy.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Appreciate the call.
Take care now.